All right. Welcome, everybody. This is on our Monday meeting for week 12, it looks like. And it's just pointed out to me that I had too many columns on our project sheet. So I just reduced that a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at what everybody's doing this week. So coming down the column here, I can see the very first entry is for Salvo, which we did already look at, but we'll look at it again. He says he wants more likes. So I got to remember now to click the little thing. Where do you click? This one? There. Gave you a like. All right, so this shouldn't be any different than we just saw last week, I believe. Still looks good, though. All right. Salvo, anything changed? Do I need to be aware?
No, I didn't change anything.
All right. Very good. Thank you. All right, Miguel, let's take a look at yours. Cool. Whoa.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know why I loaded in there.
Yeah, that's weird. I think when you create the project, you can create the first position, I think, by setting the thumbnail or something. That was weird that it just kind of went to the back
Huh.
there. Cool. Okay. So you're still getting the hang of sculpting and trying to get base meshes in and start to get detail and all that good stuff, huh?
Yeah, this is the female companion to that first male bust I did.
Cool.
So the zero reference, just trying to block out.
Hmm. Looks pretty
And
decent
then,
to me. I would say potentially push back underneath the nose just a little bit more and
oh yeah, I did that
maybe,
again, huh?
yeah, maybe bring the forehead forward just a tiny bit. Eyeballs too, just a little bit forward, I think, just based on that
Okay, and
side
maybe
profile.
some slant, huh? Because they're like perfectly up and down.
Um, oh, the eyeballs, you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, the eyelids.
Yeah, typically your upper eyelid is going to be more horizontal and the lower one's going to dip down. And you have that, but there might be just a little bit too much overhand bend on that one. Let me see if I can determine from the front. Um, I think it's just that the back corner of the eye tends to come down and cover over a little bit more. It looks a little bit open. It does matter based on like ethnicity and age and stuff, but that's just a general tendency. Mostly it's the side profile that I'm looking at for proportion's sake, and my gut tells me to move the eye a little farther forward, maybe a little down, and bring the forehead a bit further forward.
Okay.
But that's just kind of an instinctual thing. Couldn't tell you exactly if they're right or wrong. I mean, everybody's different after all. Just looking at these for no reason. And the hair is interesting. So you got kind of like a combing brush going on here.
Yeah, it's called rake. So
Rake.
that's why it's so dense as well, because it's such like a fine alpha
Uh
that it just looks like pyramids if it's
huh.
not a few 100,000 polys.
I will say what typically is the case is you just get kind of Barbie hair, just big, flat, smooth pieces, and then applied on top of that could be like, the hair texture or whatever. So you don't have to work too hard at this, really.
Right, yeah, this well, yeah, I guess I wouldn't you wouldn't even bake this into the to the flat one, huh?
Probably not. Yeah.
It'd be something a lot more like drawn,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, like maybe a substance material or yeah, potentially something that you would paint in long strips and then convert into a normal map or a bump map. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might figure out that hair card thing for the next one.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach. You kind of just make Barbie hair and then you might duplicate it and move it out just a little bit and put semi-transparent cards on top of it. It tends to be a pretty good approach. You could probably find some other examples here on ArtStation of people doing this. In fact, even just in the suggestions. Not this one. This one's clearly highly stylized right there.
That one's crazy. I have looked at it.
This one looks like maybe it's along the same level of detail that you're doing. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So what they've done is the more stylized kind of triangular shapes. Let me get a wireframe. So you
Yeah,
get,
the like tube hair.
yeah, it's like noodles. Actually, there's far more of them than I thought at first glance. I thought they were going to be more um, blocky, but you could get away with like 1/3 as many as is currently shown here, and it would still be pretty good. And even in the back here, like this big ropey section and the dome section, that could all just be kind of a solid mass with texture on top of it, and usually you can get away with that.
Yeah, I might look into that as well as another uh,
Yeah.
option.
But there's lots of different approaches too. Like if you look around enough, you'll find ones that have full-on hair systems, ones that have like plastic Barbie hair, all sorts of different stuff. Cool. All right, very good. I'm glad that's coming along. Did you have any trouble or anything in particular that you wanted to address?
I couldn't figure out how to export the materials from ZBrush to get them working in Sketchfab. I
Oof.
just didn't know what the hell to look for.
I can't help you there because ZBrush is not my strong suit. That'd probably be a question for Robert next time he's on.
Yeah, I'll shoot him a message.
Yeah. All right, man. Very cool. So then, let's see, going down all the way down to here, we've got Austin's set for Friday, but there's a link to it. So I'm tempted to click on it anyway. Austin here? Austin not here.
Hey, I see that I have. This is Matt. I see that
Hey.
I have a P on my thing for today. I'm gonna move it over to Friday. I'm not quite ready with that.
Boom. Done. All right, thank you for letting me know.
Thank you so much. You were fast.
Let's see what is going on here. So this is set to turn in Friday, so you might change things between then and now. I just want to see anyway. Okay. So it looks like he's going to set up some sort of firing demonstration. Probably going to look for like shells or impact casings or something like that. Pretty interesting. All right. Well, we'll see how that turns out on Friday, I guess. Then we've got Isaac, and Isaac is here. Hello.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm doing good. This project was kind of just so I can learn more about using ProBuilder, which I have discovered has its limits.
Mm-hmm.
They have a Boolean tool, but it doesn't work very well.
Oh,
If you have more than 10 faces, it crashes Unity.
oh, really?
Yeah, it was tough to cut things out, so I got kind of limited on it. And then it was also just so I can learn how to, because my previous project was learning how to do clouds and rain, so this one was learning how to do fire for torches.
Oh, I see. Can I actually like get over? Oh, I can't get over there. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So right now it's appearing to be a little bit chopped up. Like there's lots of different pieces that are kind of visible. Are those textures billboarding towards the camera, or are they just facing in like some sort of global direction?
They're all facing in a global direction and somewhat like a cylinder.
Okay. I would
And the
say,
reason why it looks so blocky is because of the transparent PNG that I found.
Mhm.
It just wasn't quite a PNG.
something that you could do is increase the scale of those particles, but decrease the number of them so that they're overlapping more, and that will mask the effect that there's separate particles. Also, the default particle mode of additive tends to help with that because it means that with just a couple particles, you can get brighter overlaps and darker individual spaces, and that should help a little bit there.
Okay, that makes sense.
This is the kind of thing, though, that I can absolutely do a lecture on if you want me to, because I know particles in Unity pretty thoroughly.
Yes, do one.
Honestly, yeah, that would be pretty interesting.
Awesome. Okay.
It looks like those flames are actually sideways.
Are they?
I think that's what the
They
edgy
they
corner
honestly
is,
might
yeah.
be.
When you get down small enough, it doesn't really matter. You just kind of do what looks right. But yeah, I think you might be right. I'm not sure.
There's a torch behind you that you can look at a little closer.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, like it's oriented facing to the right. Yeah. Um, I think what you were doing up here, like when they get really small and they fly away, you're trying to get like the effect of sparks. Is that right?
I was, but I made it way too long.
Oh, the lifetime. So typically, it's really common to have more than one particle system per effect. So in just a torch, like a wall torch, you could have three, no sweat. One would be the flame, one would be the sparks, and one would be the smoke. And so all three of those would be grouped together in the same prefab, to create your overall effect. But it's not uncommon to have like 5, 6, a whole bunch of them. Because it's pretty hard to get the effect you want with just one system.
I think where I was getting kind of confused is not the actual like particle system, but
Mhm.
setting up the material so that it goes in well.
Oh yeah. So finding the texture and then also setting up the material so that it displays in your system correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there are a couple different kinds of images that work. Oftentimes, particle images are not transparency based; they're luminosity based. So you'll have a black background and lighter textures. And because additive is the default blending mode, that means that only the stuff that's above black is shown. So you end up getting glowy stuff because a lot of particles are glowy things. You can override that and make a particle anything you want, like blood splattering probably wouldn't use additive, or I don't know, like grease puddles or uh, shell casings, whatever. And you can even use 3D objects for your particles as well, and then enable physics, and it makes it really cool. So what I'll probably do then for Friday, I guess, is like do a demonstration of some particles because it sounds like a couple people have interest in that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing that I want to learn next is how to do like rivers or flowing streams.
Oh boy, that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
That's yeah, um, that's a really compound effect. Like there's a lot of different ways to achieve it. Some of them have greater graphical fidelity, some of them don't. But it sort of depends on like what sort of game you're talking about and how close you want to get to it. You don't want to like swim in the water, do you?
No, no, no. It would be
Okay.
like something you could see off in the distance.
Okay, like from top down, or as if you're walking along and there's a river like over there.
So like if you were to turn around that between those two parallel lines, you would be able to see like river between that, but you wouldn't be able to walk through it or anything.
Oh, right here on the ground here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, at least it's bounded in by solid stuff, so that would kind of help. What you're looking at there at minimum is a scrolling texture on the surface of an object, and then probably a couple particle effects to give the kind of splashing that you would associate with like quick moving or slow moving water hitting something. But the really tricky thing is like if you wanted the effect of like foam or waves against like a pier where when it contacts something there's a certain kind of texture shown, that's a full-on shader at that point, and I cannot tell you how to do that because I don't know. Shader stuff is very, very complicated. I could probably find resources and point you in that direction, but I definitely can't just tell you myself how that would work.
I think it'd be a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah, potentially. There's some really techie stuff that I'm into and follow, but that is in particular one of the things on my checklist to learn eventually because I know for a fact that it's so complicated. So what I would do probably is
not
fake
do
it.
that.
Yeah, probably don't do that level. I mean, if you just want water in this trough, like you could probably make that happen just with a scrolling texture and some particles. But the edge foam kind of thing, like if you had standing water and a ship sitting in it, and when the ship is submerged, it has like that kind of edge around it. I know how I could fake that, but I don't know how to make a shader do that. And you don't want to get into shader writing if you're just getting into effects for the first time. That's like the deep end of the pool.
And sink or swim.
All right, man. Very cool. So we'll do that on Friday then.
All right, sweet. Thank you.
Very good.
You could check mine. Nathan Bing. I'm on the last one. Yeah, I wasn't here on Friday, so I'm not sure y'all checked it out.
So we did. And didn't you put it in like on Monday of that week too?
Yeah, but I wasn't there on Monday.
Okay.
And then I put it on Friday, and then I wasn't there on Friday either.
So I record these though, right? And put them all up on
Oh,
YouTube.
okay.
So you can always go watch them. But I'm happy to look at it again now that you're sitting here. But I saw it for the third time. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Okay.
So yeah, let's go ahead and just play it here. So yeah, I was taking a look at it, and since you're doing particles as well, like I could address all of these, so that's really convenient. And so we just hit space, pow. So I think one of the things I said the first time I looked at it was that you probably need more than one particle system also. Little tiny bits, like you could take these individual parts and make individual sprites out of them. And when you fire, just send a bunch of them out there and set their lifetime to like 1 second or something like that. And so in addition to what you've got, which is like the muzzle flash, you could have little sparks kind of head off into the scene. We can also do things like give them gravity and collide with the ground so that they bounce and die upon like bouncing twice or something. Really, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do. What I'm going to do is dig through old projects that I've got because I've done both 2D and 3D particle effects, and some of them were really fun. Like a character that was shooting his gun and had muzzle flare and cartridges that were being ejected in random directions and then bouncing on the ground, or blood slashes. So I'm going to see how many of those I can find and kind of just place together in a single project to show you guys. And then I could construct a couple as well. And the same thing would be like for the impact, probably you could reuse the same asset to like, splash off the wall. Cool. Are you using a particle system for this or just animating things?
Yeah, it's a particle system.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll take a look at that stuff. I'll see how many different effects I can come up with. I know that I did. Oh, where did I put that? I did one that I could demonstrate right now, but I don't remember. Is it on itch? It actually might be on my itch page. Let me see. How do you go to your own stuff?
My library.
My library, really?
Yeah, I think so.
No, that's all stuff that I've browsed, like
Maybe
from
it's,
like dashboard.
what- view profile.
I'm on here so seldomly, I have no idea like how to navigate this.
Yeah,
Oh,
there it is.
okay. So I actually do have one demonstration of some particle effects like here in itch. One of my students made a barrel and was wanting it to be like interactable, and so he gave it to me, and then well, I did this. There we go. So there's a whole bunch of different particle effects taking place here. When the arrow comes in on the tip of it, this is a particle effect, the little fire. Let's reset it. Then the sparks are another one that's reused a few times. The individual explosion bits, which I think could have been better, are one. These little smoke bits are. The fire here is reused, and this smoke is a different method of making a particle effect that I was just experimenting around with. The little bits that fly around, some of those are just physics objects, but some of them are particles too. So when you see the bits fall down and hit the ground, a lot of those are 3D objects which are particle driven. And so there's a collider that's basically just a circle, and the mesh is being displayed, and after I think it's like 3 bounces, they are killed. So those particles no longer exist. Yeah, so if you really strictly pay attention, each time it's slightly different. The explosion part, not the first part. But I know I have this Unity project at least like almost on a folder in my desktop, so I can grab that one real quick. Yep, there we go. So at least there's that stuff that I can show. How do I do that? There we go. All right, you guys. Anything else that we have to take a look at or discuss for the people that are in attendance?
Yeah, actually, I submitted something.
Okay, Alan. Uh, wait. Oh, this one. Yeah. All right, let's take a look. Full screen that. So we've got first person shooter control. So am I just doing a shooting gallery?
Yeah, it's just like a little sandboxed shooting gallery.
Cool.
It was meant to experiment with raycast shooting
Oh, nice.
and some physics as well. And the target plates at the end have a little animation that I messed with once you shoot them 3 times.
Yeah, they're hinging and falling down.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. I like it. So raycasting, and you were messing like physics forces too?
Yeah, with like adding a rigid body on onto those like cans and the boxes,
Yeah.
and messing with like their mass and how much force is applied to them once they get shot at.
So I was trying to like shoot at like corners and things and see if it would move them differently, like from the bottom or from the top. Whoa, that one sure did. Shooting on the bottom makes them just catapult into the air. That's really cool. So one of the things about the rigid bodies that we don't often get to experiment with is the difference between how much mass and how much drag. So for these cans, you probably want slightly more mass, but also more drag. So what will happen is that it won't be able to propel as far, but it will go quick and then slow down and then drop back down as if there's air resistance. So right now they're
Okay.
just like they're doing like a leapfrog sort of thing because I don't think they have any drag. But that's one way that you can use drag is to simulate like terminal velocities or air resistance. Very cool. You can also change the mass after something happens to it. So like a common cheat would be that the mass is bigger when you're not shooting it, then you shoot it and the mass drops and then goes back up again so that you can get a certain kind of effect.
Oh right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, or it could just be dialing in the amount of force. That's another way.
Hey, dude, I have a question. Like, what's your logic that makes the cans respawn after you shoot them off the perch?
Oh yeah. So what happens is once the cans are shot, if they fall below a certain height, in this case, I made it so if the position Y is less than 20, they get respawned back at the original spot.
Oh, and they're not like
Um,
hitting the ground, are they?
right, right. So
Yeah.
once it hits the ground, I also put it in the script to turn off the mesh collider. So once it hits the ground, it turns off the mesh collider so it can fall through the floor
Okay.
and
okay.
reach that certain point to
Mhm.
where it respawns.
Cool.
Thank you. That's tight. Okay, man.
And there's a
Yeah.
lot of ways that you could do that same thing. Like you could have a script that's counting time, and like after a certain amount of time, it just like kills it and resets it, or just puts it back in its position. You could give it like a health value, so that after it hits a certain number of times, then it dies and it resets itself. But yeah, that's cool. A Y value is a good classic one, especially if you have an open scene like this.
Tabor, can you shoot the boxes a little more? I want to see if they behave the same way as the cans. They do. Okay.
Oh, like come back? Yeah.
So they no that they basically where you shoot them, it draws a line to the center of the mast, and that seems to be the trajectory it gives it.
Uh-huh. Is that
So I was just
is that
observing.
correct? I think that's right. But
I have no idea. I would think you just use the vector of your raycast, but
oh, I was just asking Alan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a way to apply the force along the raycast, but I think it would require some math. And I think it would also require that you know what the shape of the collider is ahead of time. Like cylinder and cube would be no problem, but like a rigid body might be a problem. Like a rag doll.
yeah, it's kind of hard to say, huh?
Although I've seen it done. I mean, it might be because rag dolls typically use like a cube or capsule collider for their limbs, and so you can still do the appropriate math, but you don't often see that like impact point specific on a character. It's more like just for objects like these. Yeah, very cool. All right, awesome. I was having fun playing with it. Recommend you guys play with that one too. It's fun. All right, anybody else? It sounds like we might do a little bit of particle and physics simulation stuff in Unity on Friday. I'm gonna write that down because both of those are up my alley and I love them. So yeah, particles and physics. Okay. All right, you guys. If that's it, thank you very much. We will talk again on Friday. And of course, I'll record that in case you can't make it, so you can always catch the playback.
Nice.
Thank you.